When Audrey Hepburn is mentioned, one of the very first words that comes to mind is elegance. Very few people can watch her films without being deeply affected by her presence. Looking at her photographs, studying her timeless style, and reading about her life has always fascinated generations around the world. Audrey Hepburn was not only one of the most important film stars of her era, but also a lasting fashion icon and a devoted humanitarian whose impact continues to this day. In this video, we take a closer look at her childhood, her rise to fame, her unforgettable films, her personal life, and her extraordinary work with UNICEF. Audrey Hepburn was born on May 4, 1929, in Brussels, Belgium. Her mother was Dutch Baroness Ella van Heemstra, and her father was Joseph Victor Anthony Hepburn Rustin, who was born in Bohemia. Ella had previously been married and had 2 sons from that marriage. In 1926, she married Joseph, and Audrey was born 3 years later. However, in 1935, Joseph suddenly left the family without explanation and never returned. Audrey was only 6 years old at the time. Years later, Audrey described this abandonment as the most traumatic experience of her life. She said the sense of insecurity it created followed her throughout all of her relationships. After her parents separated, Audrey and her mother moved to England, where Audrey attended a private boarding school for girls. In the summer of 1939, they stayed in the coastal town of Folkestone. But that peaceful time ended abruptly with the outbreak of World War II. Fearing the war, Ella decided to return to the Netherlands with Audrey. They settled in Arnhem, at Audrey's grandfather's home. At first, they lived relatively safely, but the war soon reached them as well. The family's jewelry and bank accounts were confiscated, and they were eventually forced to leave Arnhem and move to a countryside house in Velp. During this period, Audrey experienced hunger, fear, and hardship. These years left a deep mark on her, shaping her compassion for suffering people later in life. She would later say that no one who had experienced real hunger could ever forget it. After the war ended, Audrey returned to London and began studying ballet seriously. Although her passion was strong, she was eventually told she was not physically suited to become a professional prima ballerina. In 1948, she appeared briefly in the Dutch film Netherlands in 7 Lessons. Her role lasted less than 2 minutes. In 1951, she played Eve Lester in Young Wives' Tale, but everything changed just 2 years later. In 1953, Audrey Hepburn starred in Roman Holiday. The film became an international success, and Audrey won the Academy Award for Best Actress. Almost overnight, she became a global star. She followed this success with Sabrina in 1954, starring alongside Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. Other notable films soon followed, including Funny Face, Love in the Afternoon, and The Nun's Story. Audrey reached the peak of her career with her unforgettable role as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's. The film cemented her image as a symbol of elegance and grace. Later successes included Charade, My Fair Lady, Two for the Road, and Wait Until Dark, at a time when beauty standards were defined by stars like Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor. Audrey stood apart with her simplicity, natural beauty, and quiet sophistication. Audrey married actor Mel Ferrer in 1954. They had a son together, Sean Hepburn Ferrer, born in 1960. The marriage ended in divorce in 1968. In 1969, she married Italian psychiatrist Andrea Ditti. Their son, Luca Ditti, was born in 1970. This marriage also ended in 1982, although she appeared occasionally in films afterward, including Robin and Marion with Sean Connery. Audrey gradually stepped away from Hollywood. Audrey Hepburn's life was not defined by cinema alone. One of her greatest legacies was her humanitarian work. In 1970, she accepted UNICEF's invitation to participate in a television program called A World of Love. She sang with children who had been rescued from poverty and suffering. In 1987, she attended an international music festival in Macau as a guest of honor for UNICEF, and later participated in benefit concerts in Tokyo. In March 1988, Audrey officially became a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. She traveled to many countries, gave countless interviews, held press conferences, and spoke tirelessly about hunger, poverty, and the suffering of children. Her dedication was deeply personal, rooted in her own memories of war and starvation. Audrey Hepburn passed away in 1993 in Switzerland. The world lost a film legend, but her influence never faded. She remains a timeless fashion icon, an inspiration to millions of women, and a symbol of kindness and humanity. Her style continues to inspire generations, from the little black dress to simple flats and scarves. But more importantly, her compassion continues to inspire acts of goodness. Let us close with Audrey Hepburn's own words. If you want beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. If you want beautiful hair, let a child run his fingers through it. If you want a slim figure, share your food with the hungry. And if you want beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. Elizabeth Taylor was more than a movie star. She was a symbol of beauty, passion, controversy, and power during Hollywood's golden age. With her legendary violet eyes, dramatic acting talent, and unforgettable presence, she became one of the most iconic actresses in cinema history. This is the story of Elizabeth Taylor, her rise to fame, her triumphs, her scandals, her humanitarian work, and the legacy she left behind. Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor was born on February 27, 1932, in Hampstead Garden suburb, London, United Kingdom. Her father, Francis Len Taylor, was an American art dealer, and her mother, Sarah Viola Warmbrod, was a former stage actress. Elizabeth was their second child. Because of her parents' American roots and her birth in England, Elizabeth held both American and British citizenship. She spent the first 7 years of her life in London. However, as World War II began and tensions grew across Europe, her mother returned to the United States with Elizabeth and her brother, settling in Los Angeles, California. Her father later joined the family after closing his business in London. Elizabeth Taylor's journey into cinema began almost by chance. A family friend noticed her striking beauty and suggested that she should be taken for a screen test. At just 9 years old, Elizabeth was brought to Universal Studios, where she passed the audition and signed her first contract. Her film debut came in 1942 with There's One Born Every Minute. Although Universal later released her from the contract, her career was far from over. She soon joined Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, or MGM, and appeared in Lassie Come Home in 1943. This role opened the door to more opportunities. Elizabeth went on to appear in films such as The White Cliffs of Dover and Jane Eyre, gradually developing her acting skills. In 1944, Elizabeth Taylor's life changed forever. She starred in National Velvet, playing the role of Velvet Brown, alongside Mickey Rooney. The film became a massive success, earning millions at the box office. Elizabeth was suddenly MGM's brightest young star. Originally, the role had been intended for another actress, but fate intervened, and Elizabeth Taylor's destiny was sealed. Throughout the late 1940s, Elizabeth continued to mature as an actress. She returned to the screen with Courage of Lassie in 1947 and appeared in Life with Father and Little Women, earning critical praise. In 1949, she took on her first romantic role as a young woman in Conspirator. By 1950, Elizabeth Taylor was no longer just a child star. She was becoming one of Hollywood's most talked-about actresses. The early 1950s marked Elizabeth Taylor's transformation into a global superstar. In 1951, she delivered a powerful performance in A Place in the Sun, proving her dramatic depth. She starred in Father of the Bride and its sequel, capturing audiences with both charm and emotional strength. At just 18 years old, Elizabeth was already earning thousands of dollars per week and was considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. Elizabeth Taylor's personal life often made as many headlines as her films. Her first marriage, to Hotel heir Conrad Nicky Hilton, ended after just 9 months. She later married actor Michael Wilding, with whom she had 2 sons. The marriage ended in divorce. In 1958, tragedy struck when her husband, Michael Todd, died in a plane crash, leaving Elizabeth widowed with a young daughter. Soon after, scandal erupted when Elizabeth married singer Eddie Fisher, who had left his wife Debbie Reynolds. The media backlash was intense, cementing Elizabeth Taylor's reputation as Hollywood's most controversial star. Despite the scandals, Elizabeth Taylor's career reached new heights. She starred in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Suddenly, last summer, and Butterfield 8. In 1961, she won her first Academy Award for Best Actress for Butterfield 8. Her most famous project came in 1963 with Cleopatra, where she starred opposite Richard Burton. The film made history, and their passionate off-screen romance became legendary. Elizabeth and Richard Burton married in 1964, divorced, remarried, and divorced again. One of Hollywood's most famous love stories. In 1966, Elizabeth delivered one of her greatest performances in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, earning her second Academy Award. In the years that followed, Elizabeth continued working in film and television. Though her projects were less commercially successful, she appeared in TV productions such as Divorce His, Divorce Hers, General Hospital, All My Children, and even lent her voice to The Simpsons. Her final film appearance came in The Flintstones in 1994. Beyond cinema, Elizabeth Taylor became a powerful humanitarian voice. After losing close friend Rock Hudson to AIDS, she dedicated herself to AIDS awareness and research. She helped establish AMFAR and later founded the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, raising millions to support patients and medical research. For her humanitarian efforts, she received numerous honors, including the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award and the Presidential Citizens Medal. Elizabeth Taylor faced serious health challenges later in life, including heart disease, cancer, and multiple surgeries. Despite these struggles, she remained outspoken, witty, and deeply committed to her causes. On March 23, 2011, Elizabeth Taylor passed away at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. At the age of 79, Elizabeth Taylor was more than a Hollywood icon. She was a survivor, a rebel, a philanthropist, and one of the most unforgettable actresses of all time. With 2 Academy Awards, countless classic films, and a humanitarian legacy that saved lives, Elizabeth Taylor's influence continues to shine. Hollywood may never see another star quite like her. Grace Kelly was one of the brightest stars of Hollywood's golden age, but she became unforgettable not only because of her acting talent, but also because of her elegance, grace, and her extraordinary journey. From movie stardom to royalty. Born on November 12, 1929, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Grace Kelly's life would eventually take her from Hollywood sets to the Royal Palace of Monaco, a story that felt like a real-life fairy tale. Grace Patricia Kelly was born into a well-known Catholic family in Philadelphia. Her father, John B. Kelly Sr., was a successful businessman and Olympic gold medalist, and her mother had been a model and athlete. Before entering the world of cinema, Grace Kelly began her career as a model. Her natural beauty, confidence, and calm presence quickly set her apart. In 1949, she graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Afterward, she began working in theater productions and live television broadcasts in New York City, gaining valuable acting experience. Grace Kelly made her film debut in 14 Hours in 1951. Her breakthrough soon followed with Fred Zinnemann's Western classic, High Noon in 1952, where she starred alongside Gary Cooper. In 1953, she appeared in John Ford's adventure romance, Film Magambo. Her performance earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, marking her as one of Hollywood's rising stars. That same year, Grace Kelly's screen presence, elegance, and emotional depth captured the attention of audiences and critics alike. Grace Kelly reached the pinnacle of her acting career with The Country Girl in 1954, starring alongside Bing Crosby and William Holden. She played the role of Georgie Elgin. Her powerful and restrained performance earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress at the 27th Academy Awards. Wearing a simple white gown, Grace Kelly walked onto the Oscar stage with her signature elegance. Her acceptance speech was brief and heartfelt. The excitement of this moment prevents me from expressing my true feelings. I can only say thank you with all my heart. To everyone who made this possible. That moment became one of the most iconic scenes in Academy Awards history. After reaching the height of her success, Grace Kelly made a decision that shocked Hollywood. Her final film, High Society in 1956, became her cinematic farewell. This musical comedy starred Grace Kelly alongside Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. She played Tracy Lord, caught between her former husband and a new romantic interest. Her elegance, Crosby's charm, and Sinatra's musical talent made the film unforgettable. High Society closed a brilliant chapter in Grace Kelly's film career and marked her graceful exit from Hollywood. In 1955, while serving as president of the American jury at the Cannes Film Festival, Grace Kelly met Prince Rainier III of Monaco. After a year-long romance, the couple married on April 18, 1956, at the Monaco Palace. Their wedding was watched by an estimated 30 million people worldwide and was described as one of the first modern media spectacles. Grace Kelly officially became Princess Grace of Monaco, leaving her acting career behind forever. Grace Kelly was not only a movie star and a princess, she was also a timeless fashion icon. Her wedding dress, designed by Helen Rose, took over 6 weeks to create and involved more than 3 dozen seamstresses. Today, the legendary gown is displayed at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Grace Kelly's style continues to inspire fashion decades after her passing. On September 13, 1982, Grace Kelly suffered a stroke. While driving from her country home in Rock Angel back to Monaco, she lost control of the car, which crashed down a mountainside. Her daughter Princess Stephanie, who was with her, survived with minor injuries. Grace Kelly was taken to Monaco Hospital, but on September 14, 1982, life support was withdrawn. She passed away at the age of 52. Grace Kelly's death caused deep sorrow around the world. Her funeral was held at the Cathedral of Our Lady Immaculate in Monacoville. More than 400 guests attended, including Cary Grant, Nancy Reagan, Danielle Mitterrand, Empress Farah of Iran, and Princess Diana. Her husband, Prince Rainier III, never remarried, and was laid to rest beside her after his death in 2005. Grace Kelly remains a symbol of elegance, dignity, and timeless beauty. She was a Hollywood legend, a fashion icon, and a real-life princess. Her story continues to inspire millions. A reminder that sometimes fairy tales do come true. James Dean was not just an actor. He was a symbol of rebellion, youth, and raw emotion. Despite a career that lasted only a few years, James Dean became one of the most influential figures in the history of cinema. This is the story of James Dean, his short life, his powerful rise to fame, and the legend he left behind. James Byron Dean was born on February 8, 1931, in Indiana, United States. Shortly after his birth, his family moved to Santa Monica, California. When James was still very young, his father left farming to pursue a career as a dental technician. In 1940, tragedy struck James's life. His mother died of cancer when he was just 9 years old. After her death, James was sent back to Indiana to live with his uncle Marcus and his aunt Hortense on a farm. Growing up in rural Indiana was not easy for him, but it shaped his character deeply. James Dean attended Fairmount High School. There, he played on the basketball team and took part in debate and drama classes. Although he came from a small town, he was determined to improve himself and dreamed of something bigger. In 1949, James graduated from Fairmount High School and returned to California to live with his father and stepmother. James enrolled at Santa Monica College and later transferred to the University of California, Los Angeles, where he studied drama. He attended acting workshops led by James Whitmore and began appearing in small theater productions and television roles. In 1951, following Whitmore's advice, James moved to New York City to pursue more serious acting opportunities. In New York, James Dean struggled at first, taking small roles in theater and television. In 1952, he joined the Famous Actors Studio, where he trained alongside future legends, such as Marlon Brando and Julie Harris. He appeared in several television programs, including The Philco Television Playhouse, Robert Montgomery Presents, and Armstrong Circle Theater. His breakthrough on stage came in 1954 with the Broadway play The Immoralist. For this performance, he won the Best New Actor award, drawing serious attention to his talent. James Dean's performance caught the attention of Warner Brothers. He was cast in East of Eden in 1955, based on John Steinbeck's novel. The film marked his first major role and earned him an Academy Award nomination, an extraordinary achievement for a newcomer. During the filming, he began a relationship with actress Pirangeli. Although they dreamed of marriage, their relationship ended due to family pressure. Later in 1955, James Dean starred in Rebel Without a Cause, directed by Nicholas Ray. Playing the role of Jim Stark, he became the ultimate symbol of teenage rebellion. The film turned James Dean into a global icon and made him a role model for young people who felt misunderstood and lost. His performance, alongside Natalie Wood, defined an entire generation. In 1956, James Dean appeared in Giant, starring alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson. His powerful performance earned him a posthumous Academy Award nomination, making him the first actor to be nominated after death in the category of Best Supporting Actor. On September 30th, 1955, James Dean was involved in a fatal car accident while driving his Porsche 550 Spider. He was only 24 years old. His death shocked the world and froze his image forever as a young, rebellious legend. Despite appearing in only 3 major films, James Dean became an eternal icon. He was named one of the most attractive stars in cinema history by Empire magazine and remains a symbol of youthful rebellion. Books and biographies later sparked discussions about his personal life, including claims about his sexuality. Many artists, including Lou Reed, Phil Ochs, and Hilary Duff, created songs inspired by him. Filmography: East of Eden, 1955. Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. Giant, 1956. James Dean lived fast, felt deeply, and left the world far too early. Yet his influence never faded. He remains forever young, a legend who proved that even a short life can change cinema forever. Marilyn Monroe was more than a movie star. She was a symbol of beauty, vulnerability, desire, and tragedy. Behind the blonde bombshell image was a woman whose life was marked by pain, ambition, and an endless search for love. This is the story of Marilyn Monroe, from her troubled childhood to global stardom, and from Hollywood glamour to one of the most mysterious deaths in history. Marilyn Monroe was born as Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926, at Los Angeles County Hospital. Her early life was deeply unstable. The identity of her biological father was never fully confirmed. Some biographers believe he was Charles Stanley Gifford, while others claimed her mother's second husband. Martin Edward Mortensen was her father. Her mother, Gladys Pearl Baker, struggled with severe mental illness and was later hospitalized with schizophrenia. As a result, Norma Jean spent her childhood moving between foster homes and orphanages. Mental illness ran through her family. Several relatives suffered from serious psychological disorders, and these experiences left a deep emotional scar on her. As a young woman, Norma Jean began working as a model. She quickly became one of the most successful faces of the Blue Book modeling agency and appeared on dozens of magazine covers. Her beauty soon caught the attention of Ben Lyon, an executive at 20th Century Fox. He arranged a screen test and offered her a short-term contract. It was Ben Lyon who suggested a new name, Marilyn Monroe. She appeared in early films such as Scuddahu, Scudai, and Dangerous Years, but neither film was successful, and Fox chose not to renew her contract. Despite early setbacks, Marilyn did not give up. She returned to modeling while continuing acting and singing lessons. Her role in Ladies of the Chorus allowed her to showcase her singing and dancing for the first time. While in New York, she formed her own production company, Marilyn Monroe Productions, with photographer Milton H. Green, a bold move for a woman in 1950s Hollywood, as replacement stars promoted by the studio failed. In the 7-year, it became a box office hit. Fox brought Marilyn back, this time under her own conditions. She gained control over scripts, directors, and the freedom to work with other studios. In 1956, Marilyn starred in Bus Stop, directed by Joshua Logan. Her performance as the troubled saloon singer Sherry was widely praised by critics and proved she was more than just a sex symbol. She received a Golden Globe nomination and earned respect as a serious actress. However, behind the scenes, Marilyn struggled deeply with anxiety, insomnia, alcohol use, and dependence on prescription medication. Despite personal struggles, Marilyn Monroe became the most famous woman in the world. She starred in classics such as Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, The 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot. In 1960, she won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical. For Some Like It Hot, her image defined an era, yet her inner life was filled with loneliness and fear. On August 5, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. She was only 36 years old. An autopsy ruled her death as a probable suicide caused by barbiturate overdose. However, missing evidence, lost tissue samples, and contradictory witness statements led to decades of conspiracy theories. Some believed her death involved powerful figures, including political and intelligence organizations. To this day, the truth remains uncertain. Marilyn Monroe's body was released to her former husband Joe DiMaggio, who arranged a private funeral. She was laid to rest on August 8, 1962, at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Marilyn Monroe received numerous awards and honors, including Golden Globe Awards, International Film Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6104 Hollywood Boulevard. She remains one of the most photographed, discussed, and remembered women in history. More than 60 years later, Marilyn Monroe is still a symbol of Hollywood's beauty and its cruelty. She was fragile, powerful, adored, and misunderstood, and she will never be forgotten. Robin Williams was one of the most extraordinary entertainers the world has ever known. A man capable of making millions laugh in seconds, yet also able to move audiences to tears with quiet, profound performances. He was a comedian, an actor, a storyteller, and above all, a deeply human soul. Robin McLaurin Williams was born on July 21, 1951, in Chicago, Illinois. His mother, Laura McLaurin, was a former model, and his father, Robert Fitzgerald Williams, worked as an executive in Ford's Lincoln division. Robin was the third son of the family. Although he grew up in comfortable surroundings, his childhood was often marked by loneliness. Comedy became his way of connecting with the world. After briefly studying political science in California, Robin Williams made a life-changing decision. In 1973, he was accepted on a full scholarship to the prestigious Juilliard School in New York. There, he studied acting for 3 years, under legendary teachers and alongside future stars. In 1976, one of his instructors, actor John Houseman, famously told him that there was nothing more the school could teach him. Following that advice, Robin left Juilliard and stepped directly into professional life. After leaving Juilliard, Robin Williams began performing stand-up comedy in nightclubs. His performances were electric, unpredictable, and fast-paced. Improvisation became his signature. Soon after, he transitioned into film and television, bringing the same explosive energy to the screen. In 1987, Robin Williams achieved worldwide fame with his unforgettable performance in Good Morning, Vietnam, playing a military radio DJ. The role showcased not only his comedic genius, but also his emotional depth. From that moment on, Robin Williams was recognized as one of the most versatile performers in Hollywood. Unlike many comedians, Robin Williams mastered dramatic roles as well. He delivered powerful performances in films such as Dead Poets Society, Good Will Hunting, Awakenings, and Mrs. Doubtfire. In 1997, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting. That same year, Empire magazine ranked him among the greatest actors of all time, and Entertainment Weekly named him the funniest living man. Throughout his career, Robin Williams received 1 Academy Award, 2 Emmy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, 6 Grammy Awards, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards. Few performers in history have achieved such wide recognition across comedy, drama, television, and film. Outside of acting, Robin Williams co-owned the Rubicon restaurant in San Francisco with Robert De Niro. He loved cycling, swimming, and rugby, and was known for his generosity and kindness behind the scenes. He had 3 children, 1 from his first marriage to Valerie Velarde, and 2 from his second marriage to Marcia Garces Williams. In his later years, he was married to Susan Schneider. In his final period of life, Robin Williams faced serious health challenges. His family later shared that he had been dealing with a neurodegenerative condition that deeply affected his mental well-being. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams passed away at his home in California at the age of 63. His death shocked the world and led to an outpouring of grief from fans, artists, and fellow performers. His remains were later cremated, and his ashes were scattered in San Francisco Bay. Robin Williams left behind more than films and awards. He left behind laughter, inspiration, and empathy. He reminded the world that those who bring the most joy often carry unseen struggles. Robin Williams will always be remembered as a man who made us laugh, taught us to think, and encouraged us to feel deeply.